our parliament discussed German genocide against the Namibian people. One, for Germany to accept that they have committed a genocide in Namibia. Number two, for Germany to apologize. And number three, for Germany to give reparation. Until now, we reached it to the 1.1 billion euro. Our parliament felt that is nothing. We have to engage the Germans again. The document was ready to the extent that unless something really dramatically happened, I cannot see this process going to next year.
I wish this could have happened to all African countries, because I believe every African country has gone under a colonialism. All African countries have the colonizers. I believe so, and I hope you support this. Before I deep down, tell me what you think. Give out your views. Give out your views. If you be given chance to say something to your government, what can you do? What can you say? Let's meet the comment section. And now, Namibian President, Madam, she's now demanding more compensation. She wants the Germany government to reparation to Namibian generation for what they did to their families or their people, because that was a very large number of the genociders. These are large number of the people who were just killed without reason. What surprised me very much that when I see some of our African leaders are still associating with the foreigners, with our colonizers, giving them respect at a very high level, honoring them, bowing before them, after all they did to Africa. Have you ever asked yourself, what if the African countries could have not colonized? Where could the continent of Africa be at this time? Because the Africans had good dreams. The Africans had good energy, strength. They were smart, but they were swept away. They were just swept away. So I've never seen any leader coming out with such statements claiming that he or she wants the colonizers to compensate Africa, his or her country, for what they did to the black people. I've never came across such. This is the first leader who's come up with such idea. Because imagine all that hundreds and thousands of people were just killed innocently. Just imagine, like today in your village, some people just came and sweep away, destroy everything in one day. Just take that picture. And that is what happened. And these people were buried in a desert. And this desert, it is said that it was during before these genocides, before these people were buried in this desert, it is believed that the wind would have come and swept away everything. But since these people were buried there, their graves has been there for a very long time without fading, they are just there. Because the spirits that were put there, they are very strong. They are demanding. They are pushing some things. They want revenge. They want to revenge. Because what was done there was not humanity. It was not. We agree on this. So now the president has come out and said that Germans have to apologize for what they did to Namibians, and they have to compensate them. They have to compensate each and every family. I think they have, the German has already paid some amount, but yet the parliament of Namibia has said that that's not enough. That is nothing. That amount means nothing to what happened. It means nothing for the destruction they caused. They have to pay more. What a courage, and what interesting. If you can remember, during the death of Queen Elizabeth, the African leaders who attended the burial, they were all collected and put on a bus, just like passengers. Those are Africans leaders. They respect their colonizers very much. They were just taken to the bus to the funeral. How can you collect the head of states who are highly respected? They have their motorcade. They have their security system, and they leave all that in a one bus, just like passengers, so that they can access the kingdom. What I can say, I just blame our leaders, because they don't go back to history. It's like they don't know what happened to Africa those times. It's like it has nothing to do with them, you know. But if they could have going back to the history, and they know what happened to Africa, they really know, and they have that feeling. There are some things that they could have not doing. There are many things that they could have not doing. Because just like Burkina Faso, since Ibrahim Traore came to the power, he said that he don't want any army base, any French army base to his country. And he dissolved all the agreements that were between the Burkina Faso and France. But the rest of African countries, all African countries, you must have, in any state, you must find the army base of the white soldiers. What are they doing? What are they protecting? Even if any conflicts or anything arise in the country, they will never help they will never come up to help. They are just there to help their population who are being found in these countries. They are just there to protect the investments. They are just there because of some reasons which are of their interests, but not of the interests of the Africans. But you will never find any army base or any the black soldiers in America or in white lands. Why in Africa? So that's why I said earlier that if our leaders would have going back to history and try to know what happened, try to figure out, try to have that feeling, they could have not doing some things this time. And because the whites knows very well that the Africans or the black people cannot operate without them. That's why they're taking advantages. They're taking advantages of accessing Africa and doing whatever they want to do with African countries. That's why they are still coming and manipulate African countries. That's why they are still coming in Africa and take our resources. leaving Africa in a poverty status. And they're the one who are still saying that Africa is poor. And yet they're the one who are coming to take everything in Africa, leaving Africa to the situation it is. We have to reclaim what we believe it belongs to. We believe it belongs to us. We have to reclaim what we believe it belongs to us. That's why the Namibian president Madam Nendi decided that he wants the German government to compensate the Namibians who were affected during genocides. And it has to be like that. It has to be like that. And beyond that, they have to apologize for what happened. They have to. What a powerful leader. What a powerful leader. We started by talking about Ibrahim Traore. We started talking about Goita. And now we are talking about Netumbo Sending, the Namibian president, Madam, who is doing great job. And Namibians are so proud of their leader. They are so proud of electing a woman to lead and to give them a good leadership. And what they're experiencing is something that each and every African would have liked to see it happening in his or her. Because what we need at this point is a good leadership. What we need at this time is a good leadership, because we have already suffered a lot. We have already gone through a lot in the hands of our colonizers. The Africans would have been living in their countries just like slaves, just like foreigners. You are in your own country, but you have to follow some orders from the foreigners. You are living in your country, but there's some things you cannot do because there are some agreements which binds you. You are in your own country, but there are some things you cannot do because there are some agreements that binds you not to do such things. Just like, take an example of Japan and South Africa. South Africa had an agreement with Japan that they cannot produce their own cars since they have that capability, you see. But they can only reassemble cars from Japan. That's how the agreement says. And they don't just have to assemble the cars, but they have to put on more money to assemble these cars. So how long will Africa live under some conditions and policies which binds them to not to do some things in their own country? That's what Malema was fighting for. That's what Julius Malema was fighting for. How? If they have capability to produce anything that can fly, how can not they have that? How can they not have that access to do what they want with their country? It has been a long time since Africa got independence, and we have to use these opportunities. We have to do what we feel like is benefit for our countries. We have to develop our own countries. We don't have to admire our youths are leaving schools, graduating, and going to some countries abroad, going beyond African borders to look for something to do. They're doing engineering. We have great engineering in Africa, the youths, but they cannot do, they have nothing to do with the engineering courses. So they have to cross borders and go in European countries to use their skills. And they are going to build and develop their countries, bring in more. So this is the time. This is the time the African leaders have to wake up, have to stand up, have to raise one voice. And by doing this, we are going to make it. We are going to have the agenda of uniting Africa. We are going to have the dream of making Africa the first developed countries. We are going to put Africa under the fastest growing and developed countries, because we have the capabilities. Africa has everything it deserves. Africa has anything it needs to make the African continent the best developed continent. But this can only happen when we can have the best leaders. Because the problem we are having today, we are electing the worst to lead us. We are electing the worst to lead us. And since we are doing this, the chance of uniting Africa and developing Africa is very rare and very small. Because instead of building, they are just destroying. They are destroying and benefit some people. They are destroying their own land and building some people's land. Our forefathers already built some people's land as slaves. So, do we have to continue doing this? How long will we continue doing this, building some people's land, while ours are just there? Nothing ongoing, nothing good happening. They are all only known as the corrupt leaders. This has to stop. And this will only stop when I and you will come out and say this enough. This will only start by you and me. Wherever you are, whether you are in Africa, you are in America, you are in Caribbean, you are wherever you are, it is time for you to say this enough and have one way. And by doing this, we will make it. And we will have our agenda of uniting Africa in our hands. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I have talked a lot, and maybe whenever I've said something, maybe you feel like you can just tell me. We have to discuss this, and we have to talk about this. We have to know how and what is happening, and what is supposed to happen in our motherland. Because Africa is great, and we have to make it greater and greater again by coming together, standing up, and raising one voice. This is Kenyan Explorer. Thank you for your time. Until next episode, subscribe, like, and share.